ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, children of all ages, it is I, the Old Humble Guy, and I'm waiting for my boy John Longshanks to check in. He hasn't done it yet. Super mod. We're going to get our whiskey on today. I'll be, all right, let's go ahead and get on to our title screen. I'm going, cheers and salutations. You can see behind me, my crane, my gantry crane is in the background. There it is. So today what I'll be doing is draining a barrel, and then I'm going to do some science content, you know, behind the scenes stuff that happens, behind the scenes at a distillery when I'm actually doing distillery work. And not just, oh, there he is, John Longshanks is here. When I'm not just acting like a contractor and building my own damn building. All right, so first off, a word from our sponsors, then we'll come back and I'll start cranking out on the gantry crane. Cheers.
Is your bar looking a little ordinary? Is it lacking something awesome? Well, head out to your local liquor store and pick up something extraordinary. Grab a bottle of Old Humble Straight Whiskey or Old Humble Special Reserve. They're clean, smooth, easy drinking whiskeys that taste the way whiskey should taste. From humble beginnings to an extraordinary finish, Old Humble whiskeys are what your bar needs today. Walk tall, be awesome, and drink humble. Old Humble Straight Whiskey and Old Humble Special Reserve. Get yours today.
And we're back. There we are. Okay, over here on my right, on the right of the screen, I can actually see stuff going on. Right of the screen left. There it is. My left is chat. So if you want to see your stuff on, well, just chat and it'll be on screen. I am doing my best to follow chat. I'm working, obviously, so I'm not just constantly looking at chat, but I'm here for you guys, 100% here for you guys. Okay, so first things first, I've got a barrel that I've got to get from over here. Here we are. Here's my barrels. Where is it? There it is. There's the barrel. So that barrel, the one on the right, has to get over here, which means I need to find my gloves, which should be over here somewhere. They're around here. Here they are. Gloves. Safety third is our motto here at the Old Humble Distilling Company. When all else fails, try safety. Yep. Do what works. Be awesome doing it. When all else fails, try doing it safely. Lisa hates it when I say stuff like that. She's like, that's not how it should be. I'm like, all right, Lisa, calm down. That barrel is about 600 pounds, at least. Well, the whole load is 22, so that barrel is probably, that's not the pallet that I want to use. That barrel by itself is something close to, this is the pallet that I want to use, something close to, let's see here, 22 divided by 4, something close to 550 pounds. 500 pounds, because the pallet itself is probably 50 pounds. For those of you who are new here, we have had a monumental growth in the channel this past month. So for those of you who are new, I am the Old Humble Guy. I don't make beer. I make whiskey. I drink beer occasionally, but most of the time, you will find me drinking whiskey on my channel, or coffee, sometimes water. All right. Okay. I need another board. I make whiskey. I own the Old Humble Distilling Company. I make bourbon, rye, and a corn-based elixir known as our straight whiskey. as well as Special Reserve. Yes, I am the only person who works here full time. Ow. I did have a sales guy until about 3 days ago when I had to fire him because he was psycho. All right, 1, 2, 3, down. All right, beautiful, fantastic, wonderful. These things are fucking heavy. I do actually do videos that aren't shorts or lives. I just haven't had the resources to do those for the past several months. But I am moving towards having those resources again. And I'm very excited about that. Because I've got several video ideas that I'm working on. Some of them are even whiskey related. Well, what the hell? Most of them are whiskey related. Who am I kidding? Okay. Now, this barrel is different from the other barrels that I normally use because this one is top loaded and not side loaded. Barrels are extremely sturdy. They are designed for rigorous travel and movement and even bouncing and I mean, they're not indestructible, but they are extremely sturdy. And they can take a beating fairly well. They can take a good whooping and not break. They are the original travel containers for products. Let's get down here and see the barrel. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to strap this up. I have straps. I'm going to strap this up and hoist it. And now because it's a end-loaded barrel and not a side-loaded barrel, I'm going to have to, I'm actually going to have to raise it up, set it down, and then lift it up on the side to drain it into the barrel, which is a whole damn process, but not impossible, just a process. Kind of a pain in the butt, but like I am fond of saying, nothing I do is easy. Everything I do is hard. Occasionally, I figure out ways to make things easier, but everything's always difficult. If it's not hard to do, is it even worth doing? Though, really? Okay. So first things first. I'm gonna hoist this up in the air. I'm gonna put my brakes on. I have it is 90 degrees outside right now, by the way. I was not anticipating 90-degree heat when I put on jeans this morning. I should be wearing something a little more temperature appropriate, but alas, I am not. And yes, this gantry crane, if you are curious, was hand built by yours truly. The stuff out of my pockets. All right. Okay, so why do I have a YouTube channel if I'm a distiller? That's a great question, chat, and I'm happy to answer it. Mostly to promote the distillery. We started back in, well, the channel started way back in 2012, but we didn't really use it until 2020 during the pandemic. When it became impossible for me to go out into stores and promote the whiskey. So I had to find ways to promote my whiskey online to a virtual audience. And I started the Old Humble Happy Hour, where me and my lovely wife talked about traveling, talked about travel, talked about my whiskey, talked about, you know, just stuff in general. Life as a couple in the pandemic, blah, blah, blah. Basically to fill an hour of our time. We lit a little fire outside in our fire pit until it got too hot to do that. Then she was like, I'm done, I'm out, I don't want to do this anymore. She was so over it. It was cute. But then I kept doing it. I kept doing my little stupid happy hour show, doing it 2 or 3 times a week sometimes. We knocked it back to about 1 time a week. I did that show for 3 years. I haven't abandoned it. I just haven't had time to do it lately because I've been traveling a lot, selling whiskey all over the state of Texas. Speaking of which, I need to call Corpus Christi. Oh well, I'll reach out to them later. I don't think they're really expecting me to come down there today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this on the barrel here to the left on that pallet. Can you all see that barrel on the pallet? You can't really. Okay. Well, I'm going to set it down on a barrel to the left of the barrel that I'm going to dump this into. And then I'm going to hoist it up. And it occurs to me that I did not replace the bung. So I'm actually going to have to start draining it on its side. Farts. I fucked this up. That's all right. I can get this done. I can still do this. Here's the bung. See all that wax? That's wax. That's barrel wax. Can y'all see that? Zoom up in there. There's the barrel. Look, this is the bung, the plug that goes in the hole. That hole is the bung hole. And that gooey stuff around it is wax. And that helps to seal the bung into the bung hole. There we go. Now, safety third. Not going under there. You bring my pallet over to where it needs to be. Underneath the barrel. Under the barrel. Under the barrel. All right. It's kind of it's not hard. It's just kind of an operation. You know what I mean? Like there's stuff that has to be done in a sequence in order for it to be done safely in a way that won't kill me or anyone else doing this. Here, I think if I lower it down to right here, to right about there, I should be in pretty good shape. So I'll grab this handle here. That good? I have it where I need it to be. Are you where you need to be? I don't know if it's where it needs to be. I'm not sure. There we go. Now it's where it needs to be. It's actually resting on the barrels itself. I'm just not sure. I need to lower it down just a little bit more, I think. Let it rest. All right. Now, I need two very important tools, a hammer and a flathead screwdriver. There's my hammer. And as usual, we have to play the game. Where's my screwdriver? Coming to you live from the Old Humble Distilling Company, we're playing Where's My Screwdriver? A periodic game where we figure out what the hell I did with my screwdriver the last time I used it. The big question to ask is, where did you use it last? Because it's probably there because you're a scatterbrained ding-a-ling. It's actually with my tools that I've been using on this project. So I guess it's not that bad. All right. So over here is the bung. I put the flathead screwdriver into the hole. Tap it. Oh, y'all ought to see this. This is going to be where you want to see what's happening. If I do it right, it's going to be beautiful. If I don't do it right, it's going to suck. All right. So it should go right into here. I already got a little bit of drainage coming out, and that's all right. That's all right. And that is why they have the wax on the bung wax, the barrel wax, rather. Ooh, look at that. I'm going to get me a shot glass. Woohoo! This is the best part. The absolute best part of my job. No question about it. No question about it. When I drain a barrel for the first time and I get the first shot off the barrel. And I get to see the color of my whiskey. I get to taste it for the first time. Get that beauty. Get that deliciousness. Mm. 120 proof. Oh, that is every bit 120. Jiminy Christmas. All right. I actually need to make sure it gets into that barrel. So I'm going to put up a little blocker here. I'm worried about the pressure coming out. I don't want it to like blow out all the way across the distillery here. All right, perfect. Perfect. Perfect drain right into the hole. Exactly where it needs to go. And I need to get my filter to strain it, or my strainer rather, to strain it out. That's bad. That should work. Okay, we're not spilling. We're doing good. All right, I do also need one more thing to make sure we've got a good, proper drain coming out of the barrel. I'm going to use my whiskey thief here. Oh, we've got it down. The level now is probably right around here. So I've got air coming in so I don't have it glugging out. So we're in good shape. Everything's in good shape. And even better, because it's on its side here, I'm not getting a lot of sediment coming into the barrel. But I'm going to come over here and fiddle with my straps up here and reposition them so that I can lift this barrel up from the back. I think this will work. Famous last words of a mad scientist. Oh, I don't see any problem with this. Surely it'll work. What's the worst that could happen? All right. So if what I think will happen is what will actually happen, I'll be able to slowly lift this up. I'm not getting any sediment, so I'm not going to worry with this. I should be able to slowly hoist this up onto its edge. And drain it straight down into that barrel. while it rests on these blocks of wood here. And I shouldn't have any catastrophes as it continues to drain. I'll just give it a chance. I'm getting my head in the way. I give the whiskey level a chance to get down where it needs to be, where it's safe. And I could actually give it a little help with my whiskey thief. All this does is it sends air up into the barrel so that it doesn't have to glug out. Whew. Yeah, it's probably a little stouter, more stout than 120 proof, to be honest. I'll take the reading in a minute to find out. There we go. There we go, guys. Barrel drained. I'm going to let this sit for a few minutes. Make sure we get all the little bits out. I didn't spill hardly anything either. Very happy about that. There we go. Get in there. All right. It's almost like I know what I'm doing. Almost. Hell, this wasn't nearly as hard as the last 3 times I've drained a barrel. Okay, so in this barrel over here to my left, or my left, this one here, I've got the barrels of bourbon that I just drained. Those are back here. Those barrels of bourbon are now in that barrel for proofing. And now in this barrel, I have my straight whiskey from this one right here. I'm just going to let it drain there for a few minutes until it stops dripping. And then we'll put it back down on the ground where it belongs. That was damn near painless. Whew. So this is also a chance for y'all to ask me just about anything you want when it comes to the process of making whiskey, running a business, operating a business, operating a channel, doing whatever it is that you might. I mean, if you got any questions, I'm willing to answer them. I'm not an authority on everything. And if I don't know the answer, I promise you I will say I don't know. It's also a chance to open it up for any kind of discussion. There's been some interesting stuff in the news lately. We are one more act of contempt probably away from actually seeing a former president go to jail, which is going to be just absolutely fascinating to see if the Secret Service has a detail guarding the jail cell where the president is being kept. That would be something. What a fucking turd. All right, we are just about done dripping. I have bought some clamps for my lights, my overhead lights for the stage area and my bar area. So I've got just a couple more things to do in the tasting room to get ready for our big show next week. I do believe I do believe we are going to broadcast the music from the grand opening celebration, but it will be a members only broadcast. So if you're not a member of the channel, a paid member with a paid subscription, not just a subscriber, mind you, a paid member with a paid membership. I mean, they're only $2 a month to be able to catch the live programming, the live concert. We've got 7 bands playing. Seven. All night long. Whole damn party. All night long. It is going to be a hoot. A hootenanny. Is that what it is? A hootenanny? I'm not Southern enough to pull that off, am I? I live in the 4th largest city in the country. I ain't a hick. All right, I got to lower this down a lot. All right. Did that do it? Yeah, that got it. Okay. And then the other side as well. Secure the barrel. Let's see here. This up. Let's all see what I'm doing. Yeah, there we go. I'll move this back over here so we got a wider shot. So one of the many things that I'm doing with the channel right now is I'm working on upgrading my equipment. One of the many equipment upgrades that I need to get my hands on is an improved camera. I have a Rebel EOS 1000, whatever, A1 something. I have a pretty decent camera that I used to use for my live broadcast out of the distillery, but it quit sending video through the HDMI port, so can't use it anymore. Of course, I haven't used it since I fixed my power cable, but all I was getting was color, the rainbow bars, the no signal rainbow bars. So I was not getting a signal from I wasn't getting a signal from the camera. That doesn't mean the camera wasn't sending a signal. It just means I wasn't getting a signal. So I was having an issue with my power cord, which was causing my cameras to freeze up. It was a short out overload, causing my cameras to freeze, among other things. And when I replaced my power cord, it seems to have solved that problem for the most part. Safety third. See how I tried to move that twice before I finally put the lid on that barrel? Yep, safety third. That's our motto. That's what we do. That's how we do things. Just hear Lisa's voice in my head. That's not the best way to operate your distillery. You're going to catch something on fire. Oh. Yes, in my head, Lisa Linney. Sounds like Marge Simpson. when she's mad at me. My wife does too. She sounds kind of like Marge when she's mad at me. It's kind of funny. All right, so I've got bourbon in 2 barrels over here. It's straight whiskey in one. And I got to put my bung back in the bung hole. Where's my hammer? There it is. All right. There are many design changes that I would make to my gantry crane when I make the next iteration of my gantry crane. But as of right now, I do not have the time to take this dumb thing apart and rebuild it. It's not that critical. The design changes aren't that big of a deal right now. It's not that critical to do them, but at some point, they need to get done. Let's see here. I can do this. Oh, come on. All right, that's not working. I thought I could put enough pressure down, but I'd actually have to jump on the thing and ride it to the ground, and I don't want to do that. I still don't think I'm heavy enough to do it. I'm only a couple 100 pounds. I think I need to add another 4 to actually get it to go all the way down with just gravity. There we go. There we go. And there we go. And that, my friends, is how you drain a whiskey barrel at the Old Humble Distilling Company. Zip zap. Done and done. Was zip zap going fap? No, that's not family appropriate. Zip zap, done with that. Yeah, that works. Okay. Roll out the barrels. We'll have a wonderful time. Roll out. All right, so the gantry crane goes back in the corner. The barrel, as an empty barrel, I'm going to put on that pallet. Well, I don't know where I'm going to put this one yet. I need to move it out of the way. It's not ready to go on display yet. Now this winter, I will be actually doing some live distillation, so y'all be able to watch the stills in action, which is ironic because a still is by definition not much action. It's still. Get it? Still? Ha ha! Anyway, I'm sorry for that. That was awful. There we go. All right. Ichabod, the crane, can now get moved back to his place. I truly do look forward to having a location with more space where I can spread out and not have to move stuff 3 times every time I need to do something. Yeah, you can see where it's going. You can see what I'm doing. But for now, that is not my life. For now, my life is moving things every time I need to send something somewhere. Oh, fun story. Yesterday, or day before yesterday, it was yesterday. I'm in a store doing tastings. And here's the funny thing. Like, random ding dongs going to buy whiskey. They think like they know the industry because they drink Crown or whatever. They have their whiskey of preference. And there's nothing wrong. Again, I've said this before, and I'm saying it again. I will continue to say it. There's nothing wrong with people who drink Crown. There's nothing wrong with Crown Royal as a beverage. There's nothing wrong with Jack Daniels. There's nothing wrong with, cheap whiskeys. There's nothing wrong with it. If you like them, they're in your price range. You found a flavor that you enjoy within your price range. That's fine. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. I'm not going to begrudge you to drink your preferred whiskey. Enjoy your whiskey. There's no wrong way to drink whiskey, and there's no wrong whiskey to drink. But don't sit there and act like a $14 bottle of whiskey is equivalent in production quality, flavor, taste, design, etc. to a $30 bottle of whiskey. They're not the same. They're not the same. They're not the same quality. They're not the same product. They're not the same construction. They're not the same. They're not. There's a reason why a $14 bottle of whiskey costs $14. It's 99% chance it's factory produced. 99% who's here? There's a lot wrong with Jack Daniels. Cheers, Top Shelf. There's nothing wrong with no. I mean, I've yet to meet someone who drinks Jack Daniels and likes Jack Daniels. They drink Jack and Coke. They drink Jack and they drink Jack and soda. They drink Jack and Coke. They drink Jack and, they drink Crown and soda, Crown and water, Crown and Coke, Crown and Dr. Pepper. These people don't like, and that's kind of the point that I'm getting to. It's like these people, they don't like their whiskey, and they don't like whiskey in general because they don't drink whiskey. They drink whiskey-based cocktails, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with whiskey cocktails if you like whiskey cocktails. But, don't act like we can't see you for what you are when you do shit like that. You know what I mean? Like, if you're one of the people that drinks a whiskey cocktail and you don't like whiskey, don't act like you holding up your 1.75 liter of Jim Beam or Crown Royal or Jack Daniels is some kind of fucking flex. It's not. It really isn't. That's like saying, yeah, I like cars. See my Geo Metro? Like, fuck you, dude. You don't like cars. You don't know shit about cars. You like a shitty little version of a car. I mean, that stuff's not nearly as impressive as these people want us to think it is. And I don't mean to sound like a whiskey snob, because I'm not, really. I'm really not. Enjoy your whiskey however you want to enjoy it. I'm a whiskey, what would it be? The opposite of the bourgeoisie would be the, is it the plutocracy? No, that's the plutocrats are not the heroes of that story. The plebeians. I'm a whiskey plebeian, right? I'm a common man. I'm a whiskey common man. I make whiskey, sure. And I have opinions about good whiskey and bad whiskey. Ugh. I'm not exactly a fan of factory whiskey. Especially factory whiskey that's marketed as small batch craft whiskeys. Basil Hayden's, I'm looking at you. Maker's Mark, I'm looking at you. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's no way that, a factory that's pumping out thousands of gallons an hour has any real character to their whiskey. And I will absolutely die on that hill. 100%. There's just no way. It's not how aging, the life of a whiskey, not any of that stuff works. The character, I mean, you can get character into barrels, I guess, just through proximity and your rick houses and stuff like that. But you got 10,000 barrels. I mean, how much damn character can you have in each individual bottle when you're blending together thousands and thousands and thousands of gallons at a time? There's just not that much character to be had. I'm sorry. It's not feasible. At least not the way I do the math. And like I said, I've got opinions. I mean, they're right. You can argue with me, but you'd be arguing an incorrect position. And, there's nothing wrong with that, but, I mean, I guess there kind of is, but, it's fine. Oh, there it is. That's the 2x4 or the 4x4 that I'm looking for. Right over here. Things would come easier if I was more organized. I will admit that right from jump. If I was more organized, things would be significantly easier. Oh. There we go. Let's get you right there and put you on top of it. There you go. Now you're not going anywhere. And you're not going anywhere because you're lodged in between two big old chunks of wood as well. All right. How's Dustin arguing with me about this? Holy shit. You go blind drinking Jack neat. Plebes, thank you. I don't think makers claim small batch. What is character? Most of the big boys are putting out pretty old whiskey relative to their price, and they do a good job separating barrels from different areas of the rick house to get consistent. Yeah, and that's true. They get you get a consistent flavor, and that's one of the benefits of a big operation is the consistency of the flavor. And that's actually one of the videos that I have scribbled down to work on is the challenges of small home distilling and the challenges of small batch whiskey. One of the biggest challenges of small batch whiskey is consistency of product from each run, from one run to the next, to the next, to the next. Consistency of product is hard to achieve when you're doing small batches, when you're doing truly small batches. When you're doing factory size small batches, it's not really that hard because they don't really do small batches. They're doing, thousands of gallons. They say, small batches, a marketing term as much as it is anything else. All right, so these have got to get back there. I've got to clean the whole damn distillery, but I'm not going to do that now. I guess I could do that now. What do I need to move? How do I need to move it? Where do I need to move it? But yeah, that's when you're boiling 5 gallons of water, or just heating up 5 gallons of water. If you want to heat up 5 gallons of water to 180 degrees and hold it at 180 degrees, that's a lot harder to do than if you want to heat up 2,000 gallons of water and hold it at 180 degrees for a significant amount of time. Because 2,000 gallons of water kind of acts like its own insulator. If you heat up 2,000 gallons to any temperature, 2,000 gallons, it takes a whole lot of energy to heat up 2,000 gallons. So that's a challenge all by itself. But 2,000 gallons wants to stay at whatever you put 2,000 gallons at. It's not going to dissipate that heat quickly. It's not going to, it's definitely not dissipating that heat quickly. It doesn't want to dissipate that heat quickly, and it is absolutely not going to slowly dissipate it when it does. A gallon of water holds a lot of energy inside of it. It just doesn't. It takes a lot to heat it up, and it takes a long time for it to dissipate it out. Whereas with 5 gallons, it doesn't take quite so long to heat it up, and it doesn't take quite so long to dissipate it out. So maintaining that those temperatures in small batches is extremely hard to do. And same way with flavor profiles in small batches. There's a lot. I put 5 barrels, 6 barrels into a batch of bourbon, 6 of my 5-gallon barrels into a batch of bourbon, or 1 50-gallon barrel into a batch of my bourbon. And there can be a lot of variation between individual barrels. When I blend together 5 barrels, 6 barrels of my 5-gallon barrels, or hell, just any one of these barrels is going to have a different character from any other one of these. It's going to be a little hotter, a little milder. Of course, I don't have a vast real estate in here where it's aging at either. So the differences in flavors are going to be more specific to the barrel and less specific to the general location less specific to the general location of where the barrel was located in the distillery. unlike places like Maker's Mark or Jim Beam, where their variation in flavors are directly related to where their barrels were located in the rickhouse or in their distillery or whatnot. So, when I talk about character, I'm thinking along the lines of Scotch. I'm thinking along the lines of, the interesting flavors that you get out of a bottle when you open it up. And the difference between blended scotches and a blended scotch and a single malt scotch. And we don't typically do blended bourbons in the United States. Almost all the bourbons come from a single DSP, a single distillery. We don't blend together different bourbons, but we do blend together different barrels in order to achieve that stable flavor that you get with a blended scotch. In much the same way that different seasons can give you different flavors of scotch, different aging seasons and different aging years can give you different flavorings of scotch, different styles of a single malt, different variations on the same theme. When you blend the scotch, you kind of blend that away. You get that uniqueness, and you get that spicy character, so to speak, kind of blended out, muted down. A Highland single malt has a whole lot more interesting flavors, whole lot more interesting character than a Chivas or a J&B or one of those, something along those lines, at least for my palate and my preference. So I find those to be far more interesting and far more complex and in possession of far more character. And that's one of the reasons why I really like my methodology when it comes to whiskey. I don't blend together a lot of barrels, and each one of my batches has a very unique and specific flavor profile. Variations on the theme, but variations nonetheless. Every bottle is going to be a little bit different, but they're all going to be familiar with the last bottle you had. They're not going to be identical by any stretch of the imagination, unless you manage to get two bottles out of the same barrel, in which case they're going to be awfully close to identical. And some people don't like that. And that's fine, you don't have to. Not everything is for everybody. That's what's great about the industry, is there's enough variation between products that you should be able to find a product that you like without just waving your hand and saying, oh, I don't like that, and not even trying it. Because when you say, oh, I don't like that, what you really mean is, I don't like all the other ones that I've tried, and I'm not willing to even entertain the idea that this one might be different and might taste different. So I'm not even going to bother entertaining it. And then you miss out on something wonderful. Unlike Brussels sprouts, which just taste like shit, which is why I won't eat them. Because I've had Brussels sprouts, and I don't like Brussels sprouts. Brussels sprouts taste like Brussels sprouts. All Brussels sprouts taste like Brussels sprouts. Even if you braise them in bacon grease and saute them with garlic and whatnot, still tastes like, guess what? Brussels sprouts that have been sauteed with garlic and braised in bacon grease. And if I want to taste some fucking garbage that's been sauteed and braised, well, I could just go to the garbage can and get some garbage. I don't have to spend money on some Brussels sprouts, which have taken needed farmland away from important crops like corn and barley and rye. So there. You take your fucking devil sprouts and shove them up your butt. And then fart them out. See how far across the room you can shoot them. Because that's pretty much all they're good for. Unlike whiskey, which is good for all kinds of things, like making people funnier and more attractive and relatives more tolerable. Whiskey does all kinds of marvelous stuff. As well as antibiotics for wounds. Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. They put out 3 unique and distinct batches, generally exceptional quality. Oh, yeah. True. And, speaking in generalities versus specifics, yes, some of the big boys try to emulate small batch craft distillers and try to do what we do. But even when they do, they still do it on a factory scale. And your rare and unique Elijah Craig bottles are still more common than truly rare and unique bottles from local craft distillers. I'm going to be at a Texas Whiskey Festival this weekend, the Texas Whiskey Festival this weekend, and the distillers represented at the Texas Whiskey Festival combined in a year make of our normal production less than Elijah Craig's special batches. So, yeah, special factory batches are like Chrysler making handmade cars. The Dodge Viper or whatever. It's still a factory car that comes off of a factory assembly line. It just looks cool. It's not like you got artisans in there with wrenches making a Chrysler. They're not making Ferraris over there. We're making Ferraris. And I don't mind bragging on our process. And even, like some of the stuff that I make is like, when you send a factory car into a custom shop and it comes out with the custom paint job and the redone rims and tires and all that stuff, we're making fucking art over here. And we're selling our art most of the time at prices that are comparable to factory prices. So you get a hell of a good value with craft whiskey, and you get a hell of a lot more character from craft whiskey than you do from any goddamn factory whiskey. And again, that is a hill that I am willing to die on. If I didn't believe it to be true, I wouldn't do what I do. %100%. If I didn't believe it to be true, I absolutely would not do what I do. All right, this is a batch of Boomtown bourbon that was put in the barrels in November. It's going to go over here. Oh, no, I'm not going to put it. I'm going to put it back here in the corner. I got 2 barrels of rye that I'm going to pull out. I'm going to pull the barrels of rye out, put the barrels of Boomtown in, and put the rye in front of it, because these guys aren't going to be done until the end of summer. The rye is going to get bottled up over the course of the next 2 months. One of those barrels of rye is going to get bottled up next month, as a matter of fact. May. But these 12 barrels here are going to get, these aren't going to be ready until like September or August, probably. Whoa, 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 whoa there. Easy now. All right. Attaboy. All right. Get this pallet out of the way. Finally going to get rid of some of this stuff that I use back here for gin. These pallets are heavy all by themselves. This can go here, and that'll open up. Yeah. Okay. Dustin, I'm coming back to you. Let me get my phone so I can kind of see what we're chatting about. Hey, Dom's here in the house. Cheers, my brother. Might want to raise your prize of your whiskeys. Drinking like a Ferrari. You get the Dodge Viper, Corvette, mass-produced. Yeah, and see, that's the thing. That's the thing, though. You can't sustain a business if you sell in volumes like Ferraris. You've got to sell in volumes that will actually pay the rent. So I've got to, I mean, I'm not selling 1,000 cases a month. I can't sustain a business on 1,000 cases a month. Because I don't have the operation for that. You know what I mean? But I can sell in order to live off of a product that you only sell like 5 cases a month. You know, $1,000 cases of whiskey. To live off $1,000 cases of whiskey, you've got to be able to sell, which by the way would be, let's see here, $1,000 case. I'm selling a $1,000 case to the distributor. That means it's $2,000 at the store, which means those bottles are 12, $160 bottles, $180 bottles, $180 bottles of whiskey. Yeah, you can't sell a $180 bottle of whiskey without some kind of name recognition to go with it. You know, Ferrari can sell Ferraris because they're Ferrari. You know, Tucker's not selling Ferraris. The best I can do right now, and most of us, what we do is we sell Shelbys. We sell Shelby Mustangs. We sell customized Harleys. That's what we do. That's our business model for the most part. We have our standard products, our standard bearers, like my straight whiskey is my standard bearer product. My straight whiskey is a standard bearing product. It's just a basic, simple, practically factory whiskey. We don't do a lot to it. We got our base product in. I finish aging it. I use a specific treatment for the whiskey when it gets into the shop to make it my own and unique. And then, there you go. You're not going to find it anywhere else on the market. It is as close to a standard factory whiskey as I can make. And eventually all that production is going to come back in-house. All of the production is going to come back in-house eventually. Right now, I just don't have the capacity to do it. What did I do with my phone? I unplugged it. I brought it out here. Oh, it's over here. Yeah. But that's part of the process of getting a small distillery up and running. You make your first couple of batches, and then your demand outstrips your ability to make more. Then you go find your recipe or get your recipe and outsource it to a larger manufacturer and get your product from them. And then you bring that production back in-house, and over the course of the next 4 or 5 years, you kind of meld the two operations back together as you stand up your operation. It's kind of the standard business model. And I'm in that second phase where we're beginning to stand it up and bring the production in-house. Back in-house, rather. It's an exciting time. Motherfucker. This pallet does not fit in the space that I need it to fit. Can that pallet move over? It can. Okay. I need like an extra 2 inches, give or take, to be able to move this pallet all the way to the door. So I need to get back there. Everything is difficult, but that's the life I chose. So the next thing I have to do after I do this is proof my whiskey down to 90 proof. Bring it down to 90 proof, and then filter it, and then bottle it. I'm probably going to be here late tonight bottling whiskey because I want to have a couple of cases for the Texas Whiskey Fest. I want to have a couple of cases for the Whiskey Fest and a couple of cases for the distillery itself. So I need to put together maybe 10 cases of bourbon and straight whiskey. So not even 10 cases. I need to put together probably 10 cases total. So I probably need to do 4 cases of the special straight whiskey and 4 cases of the Boomtown bourbon. This is a pallet of mostly garbage, I think. These are old bottles that I don't use anymore. But I'm storing them here for some reason. Oh, hey, Dustin. Speaking of new and unusual and rare and specific types of whiskeys, I am currently developing my next bourbon label, which will be a throwback label to our first brand, the Big Thicket. It will be our Big Thicket bourbon, a high rye, double oaked, will it fit? I don't know if it'll fit. I don't think it will. A high rye, double oaked, high rye, double oaked, high proof, 100 to 110 proof bourbon. I'm packing all the stuff in, all the variables. This will fit, this will do. All right, so we just swap out the pallets. I'm packing in all the variants. We're gonna give it extra rye, and in order to balance out that extra rye, I'm going to do extra oak staves in the barrel. And then with all that extra flavor going on, I'll be able to pump in a little bit of bonus alcohol to the whole operation. And I believe it'll be very flavorful, very strong and hearty bourbon, which will be a proper homage to the people who settled the Big Thicket area here in Texas and Louisiana. God damn. A sturdy people. A sturdy whiskey for a sturdy people. Whew. Lord Almighty. And it will be a very much polar opposite flavor profile from my Boomtown bourbon, which is a more mild and laid back type of whiskey, intended to be softer on the palate and more approachable than your typical Kentucky bourbon. Our Boomtown bourbon is light on the rye and light on the oak, which is the type of whiskey that's just not a big hit at the awards ceremonies here in the state of Texas, because here in the state of Texas, they celebrate those nasty loudmouth, high rye, heavy oak whiskeys. And the problem is with most of the high rye and heavy oak whiskeys here in the state of Texas is that they are just unbalanced. And I say unbalanced because each one of those expressions, the high rye and the heavy oak, it's either high rye or heavy oak. It's not both. And if you have high rye, you need to balance that rye out with something. Otherwise, it tastes like a rye whiskey, and that's not what bourbon's supposed to taste like. Bourbon's not supposed to taste like rye whiskey. Bourbon's supposed to taste like bourbon. That's why there's two different styles, bourbon and rye. If you want rye, get rye. If you want bourbon, get bourbon. If you want a high rye bourbon, well, that rye is going to overpower a lot of the corn in your bourbon, and it's going to taste unbalanced. And some people like that, and that's fine. I'm not one of those people. And if I'm making the whiskey, I'm making something that I like, damn it. I'm not going to make whiskey I don't want to drink. That would be cuckoo bird crazy. I'll sit there, give people bottles of whiskey, and they'll be like, oh, this is really good. I'm like, yeah, if you like that sort of thing. whatever. I don't like it. I mean, I hate salespeople who don't like the shit that they sell. Like, fucking lie about it, man. Come on. Step up. You're being paid to sell it. Fucking at least act like it's good, you dumb moron. Anyway, can you even see what I'm doing over here? I am over here working in what is my rick house. Back here in the back corner. I'm working back there. You can't really see it anyway. 4 rows MGP do really well. Yeah, so I mean, I'm coming around on the idea of high rye. I really liked my rye whiskey and how it turned out. I was really super excited with it. Very satisfied with how my rye whiskey turned out. And the balancing out the high rye whiskey with extra wood was the key to what I liked about my rye, I think. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play around with a couple of batches of high rye bourbon. See what I wasn't a fan of the ryes that were half rye and half corn. I did not like the Maryland ryes. I did not like those at all. And to me, high rye bourbons tend to taste a little bit like Maryland ryes that are the half rye, half corn combos. So it wasn't sweet enough to be good corn whiskey, and it wasn't spicy enough to be good rye whiskey, and it wasn't. I don't know what it was about it. It just didn't taste. It was like a blend of two whiskeys, and they did both blends poorly. You know, like a High School Musical using adults instead of kids, or 40-year-old adults instead of 20-year-old adults. So I want to play around with the concept a little bit, but I'm liking the idea of a full flavored, bringing together these three aspects that I really like of the rye and oak, rye and oak and smoke all at the same time, and mellowing it out with a nice dose of the corn that you get out of the bourbon. And maybe the key to the whole thing, what I was missing in the Chesapeake ryes, the Maryland ryes, was the higher alcohol content. God damn it. Stop it. What is going on in there? I got a blade in my wheels or something? Jesus. Oh, it was a screw. All right. Okay, so this is the bourbon that'll be ready at the end of summer. It's going to that back corner to chill out through the summer. It's going to be nestled back in the little corner where the rye was. And the rye is going to come out because those barrels are going to get used in the next couple of months. These barrels aren't going to be touched for a while. So they get to rest a little bit longer. All right, champ. Come on. Nope, nope, nope. This way. There you go. All right. So I got getting my rick house organized and oriented. And then the straight whiskey barrels, I've got one that's going to come out. The two that are closest to me right now are going to go in the back. And then the two that are on the far end, one of them's empty. The other one's probably going to get drained in a couple of months as well. All four of those should be empty by the end of June. If I'm doing my job correctly, all four of them should be empty by the end of June. If I'm not doing my job correctly, I'm going to have a tough time paying rent. So I'm going to have a very busy month of May between tastings and bottlings. I'm probably going to travel about 3,000 miles in the month of May on sales calls. Possibly more. I know I've got at least one festival in Huntsville, which is going to be fun. Huntsville's a fun town. Let's see if I can actually get this in where it needs to go. This is like parallel parking. Okay. And see, the cool thing about this, though, is when it comes time to pull these out, I don't even have to move the pallet. I'm just going to roll the barrels out. I'm not going to have to move the pallet at all. I'll just roll the barrels right off of the pallet, and out they go. Which is good because I can't get the pallet in there or out of there right now. Without knocking down all my wood. There we go. I am hot. Almost uncomfortably hot. All right, I got room enough for those two pallets right there. Good deal. Ow, fuck, that hurt. At least I hope those will fit in that space. Boosh. All right. Now, after this, I'm going to be doing some math content and science content. Ain't nobody wants to see that. So I'm probably getting close to signing off. I wanted to go live today, partly because I was getting a bunch of subscribers from my shorts, and I wanted to make sure that I had a live video on so that any of these new subscribers were perusing their channel or perusing their page, we would show up. They could come and see what I actually do and not just the shorts nonsense that I do. Let's see here. All right. Okay, so the tote is in the wrong spot now. The tote is just a little bit too far to the right. A little bit outside. Get the tote moved just a little bit over. And then I should have plenty of space for everything else that I need to do. Absolutely nothing that I do is easy. I've been doing this shit, for an hour now? Just moving pallets and moving pallets and moving pallets. Ugh. It's going to look better when it's more organized. It already looks better, honestly. It looks a lot better back here already. There we go. Y'all cannot see it, I don't think, because it's behind the bright storage tanks. But you just take my word for it. It looks great. It looks great. Well kept. You know, a landing strip type of space over there. What we got over here? What size barrels am I using? Sorry. What size barrels am I using? Those look like full-size ones. I'm using both. I'm using both. The big ones are for my rye and my straight whiskey and my special reserve. The small ones are for my Boomtown bourbon. So the 5-gallon barrels that I've got, these were just drained this week. And the big ones back there, that's those that you see right there for my rye. That's my next 2 barrels of rye that are going to be drained. And these two one of these was the straight whiskey that I just drained. The next one is going to be straight whiskey that I will probably be draining mid-May, I want to say. Yeah, I want to say it'll be mid-May when I have another special straight whiskey barrel drain. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 barrels here that have straight whiskey and rye and special reserve. And then I've got 12 barrels, which is basically 2 50-gallon barrels of bourbon. And I've got another 6 barrels on order for bourbon that I want to get into the barrels by May the 4th. And then I want to have another 6 barrels every 2 months going forward. I want to do 6 barrels every 2 months until the end of the year. And then we'll start going to monthly barreling of our bourbons. And the goal is by the end of this year, by the end of next year, to have 100% of my bourbon production brought back in-house, along with 100% of our straight whiskey and 100% of our rye. So the goal is by the end of next year to have 100% of our production brought back in-house, even if we do still have to source some of our intermediate product. There's still a lot of stuff operationally that has to get done between now and then. I need to continue to improve my sales numbers so that I can ensure that we have an operation. But as of right now, the trend on our sales numbers is going in the right direction. So I can begin the process of planning the next phase of the operation on the assumption that we're going to have an operation. And that's going to be the next big thing. And that's what I'm going to be doing with the high rye. That's going to be the next label that I make. The high rye big thicket bourbon will be 100% produced in-house from the first batch forward. The rye was 100% produced in-house for the first 2 batches, and then after that we got a big order and I couldn't keep it up. I had to go buy some. But it's the same. It's a distillery right across town. So it's effectively me doing it. It's just a distillery right across town. What happened to my phone? But that's also something that's going to be done in between production. Production of events here at the distillery. So tasting room operations and all that stuff. So hopefully, that's why I gave it 18 months. It might be less than 18 months. It might be more than 18 months. If I start knocking it out of the park with sales, then it'll be less than 18 months. But I've got to find me a sales guy who's not a fucking psychopath, who's not constantly coming up with nonsense bullshit and snorting all his money through his nose like a dumbass. But good salesmen are hard to find because they are by nature a little bit crazy. It's hard to find someone who's handsome like me, who's charismatic like me, just, generally good at everything like me, and modest, practically perfect in every way. It's just hard to find someone like that. It's hard to replicate me, is what I'm saying. I am one of a kind and remarkable. One of a kind and remarkable. And humble. Humble AF, I'll add. Which is why it's so hard to find another one of me. Because, we're not outspoken about how good we are. You've got to basically see for yourself how remarkable we are, because it's not like we're out there screaming it from the rooftops and rafters. We keep to ourselves for the most part. So you've got to go out there and be all like, oh, look, who's this guy? He's good at what he does. Let's recruit him for our plan. Yeah, no. That's how you find. That's the only way you find a guy like me. Is you got to see us doing what we're doing, because it's not like we're thumping our chest and being all like, "I'm the best fucking salesman in town." I mean, I am. That's what's known as a humble brag. No, but seriously, if I can find one more sales guy who can do, I don't know, half of what I can do on a typical sales event, half, I'd be happy with that. I'm good usually for about a case to a case and a half. If I can find somebody who can consistently sell 8 bottles, I will be satisfied. Because 8 bottles is enough to require them to buy a whole case in preparation for the demo event. So if they've got to buy a whole case for the demo event, if you only sell 6, they won't buy a whole case. But if you sell 8, they buy a whole case. That's how the stores work. So if we can get them to buy a whole case for a demo, all I have to do is schedule the demo. They buy a case, just like that. And then, you sell 8, they're left with 4. And then the next time you go there, they got to buy a whole case again. Now they've got 16, and now you've got 2 tastings you can do. I'll schedule you in for 6 hours, a double demo. You go in there for 6 hours, then you sell the whole case, the whole 16 bottles. I mean, it really is that easy. The math is that easy. And the process isn't, learning how to sell is not that easy. Not everyone can learn how to sell. I accept that as fact. Not everyone likes to do it. I don't particularly like it. It's exhausting. I like sharing my whiskey with people. I like their discovery process when they realize they've discovered a new whiskey, their new favorite whiskey, whatever. It's really, really satisfying to see like 2 guys come up to the table where I'm doing a tasting, and one of them takes the drink, the other one takes the drink. They kind of look at each other, and one of them, they raise that eyebrow. They kind of have that expression on their face, like holy shit. That's satisfying. That's satisfying, and I've done this enough. I mean, I've done well over 1,000 of these demos. I've seen it happen enough. I know my product. I know what I've got. It's a satisfying and gratifying thing to see people, the revelation come over their face as they, take the drink and take the swallow, and then they pause for a second and they're like, wow, that look on their face of wow, the Owen Wilson, wow. That is satisfying. That's gratifying and satisfying. Way more than the sales process. I don't get a kick out of the sales process. That's fucking work. That's a slog. Saying the same thing 125 times. Would you like to try my delicious whiskey? Would you like to try my delicious whiskey? Having 75 no's out of 150 people. It's exhausting. It really is. Would you like to try my delicious whiskey? Would you like to try my delicious whiskey? That's what it sounds like all day long when you're standing in the store with me and I'm doing my sales. I'm on my sales call. Would you like to try my delicious whiskey? Would you like to try my delicious whiskey? Would you like to try my delicious whiskey? And when I do that, about half the people will say yes. So it's a good solid 50% kill rate. What is in this bag? Huh. Bottle of Boomtown bourbon for Alexander. I'm sure he bought that bottle. These are pre-bought bottles. Oops, that is water. I think, I hope, possibly. Nope, that is whiskey. All right. Packing strap. What's going on over here? A run by Coke. If you're supporting their Coke habit, they're not going to get the job done. Yeah, that's the thing. That's the catch-22. Sales teams are psychopaths. Every one of them. That's what makes a sales team a good sales team, is that they're psychopaths. PC only. Come on, what is going on? We have popped 5360. We've gone up to the next. No, that's 5350. I misread it. Well, you see, that's the thing. If you're not supporting their Coke habit, they don't have enough sales. I did have a good sales guy. I thought I had a good sales guy, but it turns out he was just a crazy person. He was a deceitful, lying. Every single time I talked to him, there was another pack of lies coming out of his face. And I was tired of hearing his nonsensical bullshit. He was trying to take money out of. I picked up another demo sales girl, salesman, demo operator, whatever. I picked up another one. He brought her in, actually. So I started scheduling her, and then he tried to start taking her money and telling me that my employee was his employee, and he was blah. And I was like, no, dude, you know what? Enough. It was the last straw of him without airing all of the dirty laundry. It was the last straw, and we were done. That was it. No more. No more. If he gets his shit together, he went and got himself arrested. He went and got himself arrested. He would never return phone calls. He would never return texts. It was just a bunch of weird stuff that was making me extremely uncomfortable to have him around. And I couldn't keep him around. And part of me understands that salespeople are weird. Good salespeople are weird, and they never have their shit together. If they have their shit together, they become bad salesmen. But another part of me is like, excuse me, another part of me is like, you've got to be a professional at some point in your life. You can't just constantly be a screw up and a professional salesman. At some point, you've got to be a professional who can come in, who can be counted on, show up where you're expected to show up at, not have a pack of excuses, not have a pack of lies, not have drama constantly surrounding you for 3 solid months. I mean, something had to give. And the thing that gave was my patience. And it's unfortunate because he sold whiskey. I just couldn't handle the drama. And maybe that's a character flaw on my part. I should be more tolerant of drama. But drama is not what we do at the Old Humble Distilling Company. We do whiskey. If you want to do drama, you're going to have to go somewhere else. Because we do whiskey. I specialize in whiskey. I do it well. And I'm quite proud of the fact that I do whiskey well. And that is the one thing I won't compromise on. I mean, this dude was actively contemplating in front of me how to steal boxes of whiskey and sell them out of the back of his car. I'm like, why would you even say those words in front of me, you dumb idiot? You can't be doing that. I can't know about it. I mean, are you kidding me? Jesus. How can you be that stupid? Out loud. uh, you just poured some exceptional whiskey. Very nice. But yeah, no, he was like, yeah, no. It was just, I mean, the bullshit indicator, the bullshit alarm was going off constantly. Every time he called, it was something else. It was something else, something else, something else. Oh, my phone's been hacked. Oh, my phone's been hacked. My phone's been, it's like, dude, your phone's been hacked for 4 months. Spend $15 and get a goddamn Boost mobile phone. He's like, oh, you think it was that? I'm like, I know that's what Boost Mobile costs. I know exactly what a Boost mobile phone costs. I thought about getting one for you, but I'm not your fucking dad. Got my own kids to deal with. And that was the other thing. I didn't want his shit spilling off into my shit. Like, I've got enough to deal with that I don't need to have to go clean up his mess. I absolutely did not want whatever it was that he had going on screwing up my operation. And it's not like, it's not like I'm a multi-billion-dollar corporation and I have a huge security apparatus or anything. But I absolutely cannot afford to sit here and undo some elective garbage that he brings into my house. No, 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 no. I already got fleas in my house. I don't need his shit. All right, where are my hex bolts? Where are my hex bolts? Self-drilling screws, that's them. These two. Domino. All right. Got these and this bag. Is this the one I'm looking for? Is that the one I need? Bingo. All right. What are you doing off camera, old humble guy? I can't see you. Old humble guy, get back here. You're making us nervous. We can't find you. Calm down. I've got to do this thing with this barrel because I'm tired of looking at it. And I need to, this barrel right here. I'm going to secure those bands onto the barrel. So that I can put it outside as a display. me grab my phone and bring it back over here. Stealing your... No, he was talking about stealing my whiskey. Like a case of my whiskey, putting it on the back of his truck and selling it in like parking lots around this. I'm like, dude, that is... You, I mean, how can you be that stupid as to say that in front of the owner of the company you're going to steal from? How do you be that stupid? How do you be that stupid out loud? I mean, really, that stupid. Stunningly dumb. Stunningly dumb. Because, you know, the whole fucking law and everything. Like, I swear. That conversation still pisses me off. I mean, he was dumb out loud. How do you be that dumb out loud? That's what... Excuse me. That's one of those inside thoughts you keep inside your brain, not outside your brain. Don't let those out. My words, I think, to end that conversation were, I'm not having this discussion. I was not having it. Not at all. How do you be that stupid? Really? Oh well. Back to the drawing board. I thought he was going to work. I really did think that he was going to work out. I thought he was going to get his shit together. Everything was going to stabilize. But then he showed his true character. And I had to cut ways. Que sera. That's actually been the hardest part, honestly, of running the business, is finding decent people to work with. Partly because you know we've been struggling to make money from inception. Not a high volume, high dollar operation yet, which makes it tough to hire people because I can't like guarantee. You know, I don't have an income to plan for things. I don't have a huge income to plan for payroll and stuff like that. It's like we have work this month, we don't have work next month, we have work the next month, we don't have work the next month, and it's, you know, it's tough for you as an employee to count on a business that can't be reliable. And I get that. I get that entirely. You know, when it's part-time work, it at least needs to be regular. And if it's not going to be regular, then it's not really, you know, work. It's kind of a hobby. And you can't count on people who can't count on income. And I get that. But when I do get in a position where I can start paying money, the people still are fucking flakes. I mean, hell, I've had 3 people that I've interviewed in the last 6 months that just didn't show up to the damn interview. It's like, you know, the tastings are at 5 o'clock. I want to meet you at 5 o'clock at this place. And they're like, oh, I can't make it to that at 5. Traffic's too harsh. Like, how the fuck are you going to get to where you need to be at 5 o'clock if the traffic's too bad to show up at an interview? You're right. Hiring people sucks. I mean, and part of it's the industry, because, you know, these people aren't the most stable people to begin with. Demo girls and bartenders, and they're not the most stable people to begin with. We're not working with the cream of the crop. I know this. We are working with people who, for whatever reason, cannot hold down a normal job. I get it, but I still don't like it. I mean, it would be super awesome if I could find like some like executive assistant or somebody who's like, I'm tired of working in an office. I want to go out and do sales. Like, hey, I can help you go out and do sales. My husband has a job and makes money, and I don't need money. Oh, fantastic. I mean, I want you to need money. You know, salesmen who don't need money are bad salesmen. Like, buy the motorcycle, buy the car, you know, go in debt. Need cash, please. Thank you. Have the kids. Have the twins. Go on vacation a lot. Do the drugs, you know, whatever it is. Just need the money. That's what makes a salesman a good salesman. Poverty. All right, this one goes back outside. I'll be right back. There we go. All right. Now, getting some semblance of order back in this place. Got my walkway down here. Fix that up later. All right. Some semblance of order. These are all trash. I'll walk those out later. Some of these are trash. 2 of them, 3 of them are not. Those are going in the bathroom. But that's what makes me a good salesman. It's not because, well, I mean, you know, the charisma, blah, 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 all that shit that salesmen need. I mean, you can play a character. You don't have to have charisma. You can play a character who has charisma. That's probably one of the best traits you can find in a salesperson, is that they can act like someone who is charismatic. They don't have to be charismatic. They don't have to be extroverted. They don't have to be outgoing. They don't have to like talking to people. They can act like somebody who they can act like somebody who has all those traits. And if they can act like somebody who has all those traits, they practically can be that person. They just don't have to be that person all the time. I mean, Jesus, I'm perfectly happy spending my afternoon sitting on the couch. I don't have to be out at a Toastmasters talking to people 24 hours a day. I can't stand talking to people 24 hours a day. Put me in a room full of people, chances are I'm going to talk to 3 of you and just sit there in that little group all night long. I'm not going to be holding court. I don't like doing that. Leave that to Tom Selleck, Burt Reynolds, and those guys. This is what I actually like doing most. Working my shop. Building my products. Making the product happen. Making the shop work. This is what I actually really enjoy doing. I enjoy the logistical aspect. This part. Sitting down and figuring out the scheduling of everything and marking it on my whiteboard, when the tastings are, where the tastings are, recording the sales for the week, logging my subscribers for the week, approaching the goal, marking off the progress towards the goal. You know, that's my jam. It really is. And it sounds dumb because I'm not really an organized type of person, but I like the logistics. I really, really, really like the logistics of it. How to find a thing that's hard to do and turn it into a thing that's easy to do. I really wish if I could wave a magic wand, I would put $50,000 in the bank and dedicate it to a sales guy for the rest of the year and say, I will guarantee you this much, and add in 10% commission above what you sell. If you sell $50,000, I'll add in a 10% commission on every dollar above that. But see, the problem with that, though, guarantee an income to a sales guy, you're guarantee a sales guy who doesn't sell. And you can't afford sales guys who don't sell. It's catch-22. And I could set up the sales incentive. I know I've got the whole fucking spreadsheet to set up the sales incentive to how to incentivize a salesman. I know exactly how to do it. It is much easier to hire talent for $1 billion bank. I need water. I am dying of thirst over here. I am sweating like a priest at a prostitute rally. Yeah, I was talking to someone the other day, actually at church, because I was laughing about this. I was chuckling about it. The most likely place for a prostitute to remain anonymous, right, would be at a church. What are you talking about, old humble guy? Oh, well, think about it. Like let's use the prostitute, the degenerate, as the proxy for the degen low life, whatever. Like, nobody who's a client is gonna call you out, right? They're not gonna be all like, "Oh, she's a prostitute," because then, like, your wife or coworkers or parishioners, whatever, they're gonna be all like, "How do you know?" Right? And she's not gonna call you out if you're a client. she's not, or he, they're not going to call you out if you're a client because they don't want to blow up their cookie jar, their honey pot, their candy supply, whatever. They don't want to blow that up, so they're not going to call you out if you're a client. So, you know, if you just want to like, if you want to just let your freak flag fly, you want to go out and cross dress in public, whatever your kink is. You want to cross dress in public, nobody's gonna call you out for that. You want to go shop at the porn shops or whatever. You run into somebody you know, nobody's gonna call you out for that. What are they gonna be all like? Oh, I saw him at the I saw him buying sexy lingerie for himself. He's a cross dresser. They'd be all like, what the hell were you doing in that store, Gene? What were you doing there? Were you getting, you know, some edible underwears or I don't know, whatever they sell in those shops? So anyway, okay, this is going to go to the garbage. Some semblance of order has returned. These are going to go with me to the Whiskey Fest. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, I think I got 4 more in here. 3 more in here. What do I got in here? 6? No. Yeah, I've got 6 ryes in here. So I'm going to take a case of rye to the Whiskey Fest with me. Demo some, sell the rest. I'll probably demo 3. We are looking at a potential rainy weekend for the Whiskey Fest, which sucks. Not great, but it'll be okay. It'll be more intimate and more fun that way. It's going to be indoors. Move us over here. So next thing I need to do the same thing with these barrels. I need to secure the bands and probably put them outside. I'm going to put them out here. We're going to set up a cigar at the event, at the grand opening. We're going to set up a little cigar tent, a cigar garden, a cigarden, if you will. Cig garden. Get it? Cigar den. I'm brilliant. Anyway, we're going to set up the cigarden. And I'll probably put those barrels out at the cigarden for aesthetics. I need to get some tabletops, some circular tabletops to put on those barrels and set them up in various spots for people to be able to stand and have drinks. I don't want them to be glass tops, though. I want them to be wooden tops. These are my first 3 right there. And I'm also I think I'm going to set those up, instead of having the table, I'm going to set up a couple of barrels with a bar top across the top of them for our podcast that we're going to start recording. Me and Jody Summers start recording our podcast here at the shop. So instead of sitting down at a table, we'll be standing up at a bar. Be a little bit more energy involved in the production rather than us just sitting still. So I can start putting away some of these tools too, because I may or may not need them before the event, but I don't need to have them out the whole time. They don't need to be out. I can put my toys away like a grown-up. Bring some semblance of order to the shop. I'm also going to work on the lights in the tasting room. The strip of LEDs that we've got are falling down because it's hot and they're an adhesive. Cheap adhesive in a hot room makes for falling down adhesives. So I'm probably going to use some proper glue and glue them up, tape them to the glue until it sets. Because we got to have that, it's got to stick somehow, eventually. It's got to stick. I can't have that stuff falling halfway down around the shop. What else do I need to do? I need to seal. I need to seal the seam where the wood meets the floor, and then power wash the floor. Use a power wash and then acid etch and then stain and seal the floors. I should bring y'all over there and show y'all the place. We're not ready yet though. I don't think I'm ready. Yeah, I'm not quite ready to show you the place. I need to I want to go through and glue these things up first. Glue the lights up. Do the basic repairs I need to do after being away for a week. But I'm going to run cords through the roof with my handy dandy power strips. Run cords up through the roof and into the power slot up there. The place is gonna look nice. It's gonna be nice and put together. Everything's gonna be real tidy. I'm very super duper excited about it. So there you go. I think we're done. What time is it? How long have I been running? He asked. Nobody, because y'all can't answer me. I can't hear you if you did. 4:30. Was that 2.5 hours? Yeah, just about 2.5 hours. All right. All right, let's go over to this camera 2 over here. Or I guess technically camera 1. There we go. There we go. 2 hours and 20 minutes. It's not bad. Pretty solid afternoon at the shop, if I do say so myself. Oh, God, I need a new computer so bad. All right. Let's go to our picture-in-picture. There we go. Let's look at the stats. Hiring people sucks. It wouldn't suck so much, like say, if you have $1 billion bank behind you. If you have $1 billion bank behind you, you can afford to make mistakes and hire the wrong people, and hire 3 salesmen and one of them work out. I can't afford to make mistakes like that. I can't afford to pay somebody to suck. I can't afford to pay these the models to go into the stores and not do anything. You know, I, I I cannot sell whiskey for free. I don't have to pay somebody $25 an hour to not sell whiskey. Yeah, I can have nobody. I can buy a cardboard cutout of me and have a cardboard cutout of me standing in the shop permanently, standing in a store permanently, pointing at a barrel. Doing pointing at a barrel, saying, "Have you tried my delicious whiskey?" With a little uh, voice bubble above his head. Little voice balloon, the speech balloon. Have you tried my delicious whiskey? And me pointing at a barrel with my bottles of whiskey on it. That's only like $175 to buy one of those things. Then I don't have to. I only have to pay for it once. And if that sells 2 or 3 bottles a week, that's shit. That's better than one of those dumb models who doesn't do anything. Anyway, that's how it goes. All right, guys. I'm gonna wrap this up. I am the Old Humble Guy. This has been day in life, behind the scenes of all the stuff we do. Big thank you to our members, Mr. Jigs, who is a super fan member, a member at the super fan level. I am going to be doing the drawing for our giveaway of the whiskeys. You take free whiskey. Yeah, if I could afford free whiskey, I'd do that too. Uh, um, no, you've got to invest in the distillery to get free whiskey. That's how it goes. And even investors don't get free whiskey. They gotta pay for it. Nobody gets free whiskey around here. Yeah, I know how the reviews go, dude. I've played this game too. Um. Anyway, I'm the Old Humble Guy. This is the Old Humble Distilling Company. Now you see what we do behind the scenes. A typical Thursday afternoon. And what I'm going to do for the next 6 hours is probably, well, we might come back on. I'm going to charge up my microphone. I might be on a little bit later after I start filtering the whiskey. I may come on and um, that said, when do you accept Trump is the Republican nominee? I still don't think he's going to be on the ballot. He's going to fucking go to jail, dude. He is going to go to jail. They're not going to put him on the ballot. He's going to be in jail. That son of a bitch is going to go to jail. He's I am not convinced. I mean, he's the nominee, but I don't think he's going to be on the ballot. I I absolutely don't. I absolutely don't. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm willing to send you a free bottle of whiskey if he's on the ballot in November, but I still do not think he's going to be on the ballot in November. I do not think so. Yep. When he's on the ballot, you get a bottle of free humble. Yep, absolutely. But I don't think that's going to happen. I just don't. I don't think it's going to happen. The lighting in here sucks. Is that better? Yeah, that's better. All right. So we're going to wrap this up. We're going to wrap this up. I'm the Old Humble Guy. This has been a day in life. Y'all are awesome. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you next time. Cheers and good night. It might be later tonight too, but cheers. Good night. Bye.